There's something about visiting and exploring the Mississippi River that inspires. The culture and history of a place is experienced through its artistry and craftsmanship, allowing you a glimpse of a small river town or the inner workings of a metropolis along the river. River Travel Media is exploring people who call the Mississippi River home. Come for a visit and find out more at rivertravelmagazine.com. Airbrush Assassin Malcom McCrae, an artist, motivational speaker, author, and educator, lives on the mighty Mississippi. Malcom, what do you like best about living on the Mississippi River?
For me, living off the river, the Mississippi River is a sacred river. It's about inspiration. You know, this river runs right through the heart of America, going all the way down. And then just thinking about and reflecting on the different lives and the stories and different things and how the river affects people's lives. As an artist, inspiration is the key. You know, that's one of the things that we are on a quest for, inspiration, to be able to be inspired to create new work, create new paintings, create new, whatever your medium is. And for me, I have to be inspired every day. So the river, sometimes just going out there looking at the barges, you know, helps me reflect on life. Barges are going up the river and having to be able to make sure that they have enough momentum to go up the river. Coming down the river is easy, but going up the river is the hard part. So same thing with life, you know. The Mississippi River, for me, I call it Mother River, is a representation of the way life is. And as a creative individual, I use it in my work all the time.
Malcom, that's pretty deep to think about the stories just along the river. That, you grabbed me there for that moment, you know? So what inspires you on the river? I mean, what will make you think this is what's going to be the next big Malcom McCrae masterpiece?
History, meaning that, like, you know, the river towns, river cities, river areas, river landings, always kind of had transitional individuals coming and going. For me, history is a tool, and I never run out of subject matters because there's always stories around. There's always elders. There's always people that's going to tell you about, oh, my granddaddy used to work on a boat, a steamboat, and he did this or he did that. So a lot of my new work is being built around a lot of documentation. I just finished up a mini series that's built around African-American history in this area. I spent a lot of my time dealing with a lot of old elders who are telling us history and telling stories about, you know, African-American greatness in this area. The river, you know, has so many different tales, and it helped me to kind of like really relate to the community more.
Malcom, while looking at your website, malcommccrae.com, I noticed the pollination station, and you were talking about latest works. This pollination station, it's exciting. I wish that I lived closer so I could see what you guys are doing with this.
Pollination station kind of like started off with a vision of necessity and also of just creativity. The basic fundamentals of pollination station is built around three different elements: create, share, grow. So as an artist, space is very, very important. One of the things that, you know, it's always hard for artists to be able to find studio space. So I looked around looking for studio space because I do a lot of workshops with youth, and I do a lot of training and classes and different things like that. And I couldn't find any usable space that was really affordable. So out of the frustration, I was like, you know what? I need to make this space portable. I need to make it to where I can be able to meet people halfway and go into communities, and I need to be able to make it to where it's self-sufficient. So I decided to purchase a Greyhound bus and started converting it over into pretty much like a mobile tiny house, but also a mobile community center. So we go into disadvantaged areas all across the country.
Malcom, it's such a cool thing. I think that's awesome. So with you bringing art into, you said, disadvantaged neighborhoods and things, how does art change a person?
For instance, me, you know, I grew up having to understand that, you know, my dad and my mom, they did the best they can, but we kind of grew up. We didn't have some of the other things that other kids had. And poverty is one of those things that, you know, a lot of times it really does harm to young people, specifically dealing with trauma. A lot of people look at art and creativity as just an outlet. But for me, art and creativity saved my life because, you know, growing up in a rough area, growing up in an urban area, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, growing up in a really high crime area, I had an opportunity. I had a decision to make at a real young age whether I was going to sell drugs or stay focused in on what my passion was. So when I kind of, you know, fell in love with art, you know, and creativity, it gave me an outlet. It gave me an opportunity to express myself. And I'm blessed enough where, you know, I'm almost 40 years old. I've been blessed enough to not have to work for an individual day of my life. I've been self-sufficient entrepreneur pretty much all my life. So it gave me freedom. It gave me an opportunity to raise a family, gave me an opportunity to be a great father and a community activist, because I know art changes lives. I'm a walking testimony. So when I travel the country, when I work with young people, and when I'm in a community doing community art, I realize and I know that art really works because it works for me.
I'm inspired by the stuff that you're doing. How does somebody find out more about who Malcom McCrae is, and how do we find out more about the pollination station and all the stuff that you're doing around Cape Girardeau and around the country?
You can go to my website, malcommcrae.com. You can Google me, Malcom McCrae. I'm on social media. I'm on Instagram, Facebook. I'm very easy to reach. If you have a question, you got an idea about a project you want to do, definitely reach out to me. And I love hearing from people all over the world.
Experience the Great American Road Trip and take a ride on the Great River Road. Explore the people, places, and culture of the Mississippi River. Visit rivertravelmagazine.com.